Alright guys, Model Rocks 321 here. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to talk about Model Rockets. We're going to talk about the greats. We're going to talk about the GOATs. And if you don't know, GOAT stands for greatest of all time. It comes from sports. You know, if you're a sports person, people consider like Michael Jordan greatest of all time when it comes to basketball. Kobe, he's a GOAT. It's many GOATs, like you call them GOATs, but greatest of all time. Like people mention Tom Brady. I'm not a big fan of Tom Brady, but they mention him. Joe Montana, greatest of all time. Emmitt Smith's great. Barry Sanders, I'm a big fan of Barry Sanders. Greats, the GOATs, like the GOATs in their era or in their time period or in their sport. Wayne Gretzky, like when it comes to hockey, just all the greats. So in this video, I'm going to go over some model rockets that can be considered the greatest of all time. And I'm going to start with this one right here. Let me turn this around. This can be considered, I'm not saying it is, but it can be considered for the size of it. And it is the Maxi Brute X-Wing Fighter. This can be considered a GOAT. This can be considered a greatest of all time when it comes to the X-Wing Fighter. This is a 1978 kit, which every time I look at skill level 2 for this rocket and what it takes to build this, wow, those kids back in the days must really have some skills, because this is definitely, to me, easily a skill level 3 and above kit. Advanced, definitely an advanced build. This is the stuff you have to do to get it to work, to get it built nice and to work. I have one already built. This one's still in here with all the parts. It's a difficult, I ain't gonna say it's a difficult build. It's just fragile. You land the guns, those cannons, man, this stuff wants to break. I managed to keep mine in decent shape. It landed hard and it broke two of the motors on top. Didn't break them off. It just kind of like broke them down. I was able to get them back straight and fix them again. But that I flew it once and it's probably retired. But this is the first one I'm going to start with, which is not definitely the greatest of all model rocks. Not a GOAT, but it's definitely, it could be in a discussion. I could see somebody putting this in there as a grail status. Definitely one of the special ones. So that's the first one. No special order, and I'm going to just talk about each one a little bit here and there. And I'm going to move down to the final one that I'm considering probably the greatest of all time. Another one that I'll put on the list as a GOAT is by Kits. It's the Deuce is Wild. This is a great rocket. I think I talked about this in another video. This is a great rocket. Got those canted motors. It may be the first rocket I've ever seen to do this. There's no hole dead center, but the motors are canted on angles, and it flies on two 18mm engines, two C67s preferably, because this thing's gonna get some serious height and speed. This is a fast rocket with those two motors. Super stable design, really nice. So the Deuce is Wild. I put it in a discussion because it's a great all-around rocket. Super nice, very nice sport flyer. If you have a big field, don't fly it in a small field, because this thing will get some serious height, and at recovery you may have a little walk. So Deuce is Wild. Just wanted to talk about it. It's one of the good rockets. I'm not saying it's going to beat, won't beat the Maxi Brute X-Wing Fighter or nothing, but definitely a good design. So we're going to move on forward. Let's put this one in the discussion. It's from a different generation, vintage kit now by Estes, the Colonial Viper from Battlestar Galactica. A lot of the younger kids don't know this. I've barely seen the show myself, but I've looked up stuff on it. Kind of saying it's borrowing some stuff from the X-Wing Fighter. Many people know the whole deal between Battlestar and Star Wars. I think there was some borrowing of designs and stuff like that. But this definitely had that X-Wing Fighter color scheme. The cannons look kind of similar. The engines, just some stuff looks similar, but the Colonial Viper, a great rocket. This is vintage Estes, vintage, still sealed in the box. Can be in a discussion for a certain generation. Right now, a lot of kids won't know what this is, but a great starship that could definitely fit in a discussion when it comes to talking greatest of all time. So there we got that one. Let's keep this moving along. Let's go to the Astron Omega. Great kit, and can easily be by some considered greatest of all time. Like I said, it's a generational thing, because this carried the Canarock, the early video film cameras, two-stage, pop and go. These fins will pop and go. I had this on video. If you can check some other videos, you'll see me launch this same rocket right here. Great rocket, great design. The Astron Omega, nice payload section right here. This whole unit here, well, actually the Canarock would be here, the movie camera version of this, which is super collectible. That's why I had to mention my Astron Omega as being considered one of the greatest of all time rockets. So there we have that one. Let's keep it moving along. This one right here can definitely be considered greatest of all time. This is the newer one. I don't have any vintage ones of the Mars Snooper, but this is a Super Mars Snooper. A lot of people like this, and there's one before this one. I think it's this Mars Snooper 2, I believe. It's a red and white version of this. Easily in that discussion. There's a lot of people that like these rockets. These are super popular on this design. Very nice. And it's a nice design too. I like the way they did the fins. Right there you can see with the little pods on them. It's very, very cool. So this is one generational. And in the discussion of a greatest of all time, easily can be considered as one of the greats or greatest of all time. As we move right along, I'm going to put this in there. This is one of my personal favorites. Same family kind of in that era of the 60s. The Far Side X payload, 3 stages, pop and go fins, and this is the last stage here, and you get the parachute and everything after that while your other fins are on the ground. Far Side X can easily be in that category when you're talking greatest of all time, because you have so many options here. You can carry a payload, you can launch it as a 2-stager, all 3 stages, you can launch it as a single stage like this. Very cool design. Super design, actually, is one of my favorites. So as I think you already know, this is the one I won't fly. Of all the rockets, and I have that video about flying them all, this is the one I will not fly. But it's the only one that I won't fly. It's the only one. So as to keep this moving on, let's throw in the scissor wing transport. This is mine. It crashed a while ago, but I did get everything working right. Kicked the pod out, and the fin and the top wing did. Let's see if we can get this to go. Boop, and it turns like that. Scissor wing transport kicks out this pod, which I don't want to pull all the way out, and then it glides on home. This can easily be one of the GOATs. It's definitely in that GOAT category. It's like a, I mean, you got Michael Jordan. This will be like a, I don't know, who could this be? Who could this be? What player is very good, but you know, they're no Michael Jordan, but they're definitely a good player. And a Hall of Famer. I can't think of anybody right now, but this is that rocket. You know, just super great design, great rocket, scissor wing transport. So let's keep this moving. Going to move to something else. Now we are getting down to ones that are, you know, that can be easily the one. Let's take a look at the Alpha. I'll put the Alpha because it's just so classic, so vintage. It's the beginning of many people's rockets, and it can go down as one of the greats. The Alpha can be the greatest of all time. I'm going to leave that right here. The Alpha can be the greatest of all time. And then right next to the Alpha, we're going to go Gemini Titan. This rocket is in demand. Estes, if you're watching, many people ask about this rocket all the time. So consider reissuing Gemini Titan as a scale. You know, this don't have the clear fin unit. I had to use these black ones from another rocket, but Gemini Titan, super popular. People love it. Matter of fact, I have the Titan 2 here. The package is all beat up and the fins are broken in there. The clear fin unit. So Gemini Titan 2 and the Mercury, not Mercury, and the Gemini Titan, the manned version. And this is the Titan 2 missile version. So they got the U.S. Air Force logo there. But Gemini Titan and the Gemini missile, Gemini Titan 2, definitely could be considered. When it comes to scale as some of the GOATs, people want these rockets right here. People want those to be reissued as these. So there you go. To keep this moving, we are getting down. We are getting down, folks. We're getting down. We're going to go here to the Red Max. Many people love this rocket. Love it, love it, love it. Definitely a GOAT. Definitely a GOAT rocket right here. Everybody loves it. There's many different versions of it. People have cloned it. They changed the name. They changed the schemes. I have a version of it, a Wu-Tang Clan version, hip hop group Wu-Tang Clan. I have a version over there of it. On the biggest, the bigger one, the 3-inch diameter. It's the Super Max, the big one that Estes issued a while ago. So the Red Max, definitely. People love the skull and crossbones and all these insignias here. It's just super cool. Got the Red Max on its fins. Nice rocket. Very nice rocket. It's not my GOAT, but I can see it being on the list. I can see people just loving it as an all-around sport flyer. It'll fly on an 8 engine, I believe, get you up there pretty good and recover in a small field. I believe you can get away with that on this one. But yes, the Red Max, definitely considered a GOAT. And we're going to keep this moving. It's getting tight, guys. I don't know if you can see what's on the table back here, but it's getting tight. What's left on the table is a Saturn V, Mars lander, this little Joe 2 here, my Century version, still sealed. So that is kind of the running and orbital transport. orbital transport. So these guys right here, what you're looking at, easily GOATs, easily greatest rockets of all time, to not be surpassed. It's hard to pick just one. Saturn V, Mars lander, Century Apollo, Lojo 2, and the aerospace, in the orbital transport. So take your pick. It's hard for me. I mean, the Mars lander is just so great. It's so great. This is leaning heavily for me as being greatest of all time model rocket. Just the look, the design, just it is a great one. Then orbital transport, when the glider detaches and you get a nice glide back home from this guy, easily up there. Then the Century Apollo Lojo 2, you can cluster this one or you can fly it on a single D engine. Great rocket. Saturn V, what more can I say? I mean, it's the Saturn V, it's the moon rocket. I mean, it's old school, vintage scale. It hits all the marks, moon missions, then all of its family members, the 1B and just all of those rockets, and then the relation with the Lojo 2. So it's hard for me to pick one. I'll let you guys decide, what do you consider the greatest rocket of all time? Drop some below. What do you think is the greatest rocket of all time? Subscribe to the channel. Please subscribe. If you're new here, subscribe, hit the like button. Also, ring the bell notification so you will be notified when I'm dropping a new video. Also, the contest is running right now. Be sure to get over there to Instagram, follow SD's Rocket, and follow modelrockets321 to enter. Check the links below, that'll take you straight to the Instagram, or you can copy and paste it and go to modelrockets321 Instagram account. We're doing some good stuff over there, had a nice giveaway, so hurry up and get involved. And that is it for the day, guys. I have, more videos to come. Just wanted to talk about these, the greatest of all times. This is narrowed down for me to the greats. Orbital transport, Mars lander, Saturn V, Apollo Lojo 2 by Century. It's hard to pick just one, but I'm leaning heavily towards the Mars lander. I have my built version right here. Just look at this great rocket. Like, it gets no more rocket than that. And it's a lander, has the landing gear legs. Like, it gets no better. This could easily be number one. And I'm thinking that it may be number one. Greatest rocket of all time, the Mars lander. I don't know. You tell me. What do you think? I mean, I ran through a few here that people always talk about, and then who knows? Maybe the Alpha is the greatest rocket of all time. Who knows? It's hard to tell. It's hard. Very difficult to do. And then for some people, it would be the Red Max. And other people, it may be the Farside X. I don't know. But I'm leaning heavy towards the Mars lander. All right, guys, modelrockets321. Like, share, and subscribe to this channel. We will be back with more videos. Check the contest. All links below. Support the channel. All right, guys, and I'm out of here. Peace. Be sure to visit the Model Rockets 321 Space Shop for logo tees, mugs, and other space-related merchandise.